Hi everybody, I'm Tim Johnson, Associate Editor at American Woodworker magazine, and I'm here to confound you with these goofy looking contraptions on the table in front of me. They're called Burr puzzles, and in the July issue of American Woodworker magazine, we have a story about how to make them and assemble them. They're called Burr puzzles because they look like seed burrs. The sort of thing you might get stuck on your pant leg, or in my case, get stuck on my dog's ear. Burr puzzles are made from small pieces of wood that have notches cut in them. And the location of the notches is what determines how the puzzle goes together. Here we have a piece that has a single notch. This piece has the same notch, but it's cut on two adjacent faces. This piece has two notches cut in the same face, side by side. The idea of a Burr puzzle is that by locking the notches together, you create the puzzle. What we've got here are three different puzzles. This is a 3-piece Burr, this is a 6-piece Burr, and this is a 12-piece Burr. These puzzles have been around for centuries, and there are many, many, many forms of them. Let's start by talking about the 3-piece Burr. Every Burr puzzle has a piece that is called the key or the pin that locks it together. And in order to take them apart, you need to know what that piece is. So, let's start by taking this puzzle apart. No, there's a better way. The key piece on this puzzle swivels. Once it's rotated, the other two pieces come apart. Now you can see that this puzzle has three unique pieces. One piece has two narrow notches cut side by side on adjacent faces. Another piece has a wide notch that's cut in two adjacent faces. That creates a narrow bridge. The third piece, at first glance, looks identical to the second one, but it's different. On this piece, the edges of the bridge have been chamfered. This piece is the key. By chamfering those edges, it makes it possible to swivel. To assemble the puzzle, you take the key piece and slide it into the piece with the two narrow notches. Now the third piece slides over the key piece and into the notch on the second piece, and then you lock the pieces in place by rotating the key. This puzzle is my favorite because it's simple and perfect. Now let's talk about the 6-piece Burr. As I said, each Burr puzzle has a key, and on this one, it's a piece that simply slides out. Once you've removed that piece, all the other pieces disassemble. Now this puzzle has three pieces that are identical and three pieces that are unique. To assemble the puzzle, we start with a piece that has two notches that are offset and cut in adjacent faces. We take one of the identical pieces and we hold them together. We take the second of the identical pieces and slide it up around the vertical piece until it presses against the horizontal piece. Now we take the third of the identical pieces and orient it correctly, slide it in from the front. You can see that everything is still loose until we slide the fifth piece in from the side. And sliding that piece, now the puzzle is assembled, but it creates perfect location for the key. This 6-piece Burr is probably the most common of the Burr puzzles, and there are many, many, many variations of it. using these 3 pieces or these 6 pieces cut identically or cut in the same way, you can assemble this puzzle several different ways. Now we're going to talk about the largest of the puzzles. This is the 12-piece Burr. Now this puzzle is almost as difficult to take apart as it is to put together, unless you know the secret to how it comes apart. It doesn't just have a piece that slides out like the 6-piece Burr, and none of the pieces rotate like the 3-piece Burr. Instead, some of the pieces, and I don't know which ones they are, will slide. And so you have to know the secret, and there it is. The pieces slide apart, and once they slide apart, the puzzle literally starts falling apart, and all the pieces will disassemble. And what makes this puzzle all the more confounding is that every piece is the same. So even after you've put the puzzle together a couple times, you don't have any clues like, oh, I remember that I used that piece with the 2 adjacent notches, because every one of these pieces is identical. The way to assemble this puzzle is to put 2 pieces, add 2 pieces at a time. I'm going to divide them into 6 groups. And the key is this little tab that sticks out. You can see that each one of these pieces has a notch cut on one surface and 2 notches cut on the adjacent surface, and they're spaced by the width of the notch on the first surface. That's what creates the tab. So we're going to start with 2 vertical pieces, and I'm going to orient them the same way. And you can see that I've got the notch on the same side, and or what am I calling these things? The tab on the same side, and the notch is on the same side. I'll position those 2 pieces. The next 2 pieces go in horizontally, and we're going to have the tabs facing each other on these pieces. So they go like that. It's kind of like a book-matched piece. Book-matched them. One of these pieces goes in the top, and it fits into the 2 notches. The other piece fits into the lower 2 notches on our vertical pieces. What we end up with here is kind of a tic-tac-toe grid. The next 2 pieces go in at 90-degree angles. We're going to slide one in from the side, and the other one we can't slide it in from the side, so we're going to slide it in from the end and hook it in place. The next 2 pieces go in horizontally, and they're going to fill these two areas. I'm going to orient them so the notch faces down and it's on the inside, just like this. One drops in place. And the same thing is true on the other side. Okay, so now what we have are 2 tic-tac-toe grids at 90-degree angles. In order to put in the next 2 pieces, we have to perform a little magic trick, and that's to slide the 2 pieces apart. We're going to add 2 pieces vertically. They're going to fit in this cavity. You can see that the tabs face towards the center, and they're on the outside. Same thing's going on the back. It's just in the same way. And now we have the last 2 pieces. One goes in from the top, and it drops down just like this. And the other goes in from the bottom, and it lifts up. And the last step now is to slide the puzzle back together. This is a little bit tricky because you got to get all of those joints to align. And once you put it together and swivel it around a few times, you can't tell how to take the darn thing apart. And if you think a 12-piece Burr puzzle is trouble, I will tell you that there are 18-piece Burrs, there are 24-piece Burrs, there are Burr puzzles with over 100 pieces in them.